Hey everyone, Ascent Types and Storm Emeralda just came out in Japan, and I'm super excited to look at how people are playing it. I will say, well, first of all, Storm Emeralda is the Japanese expansion, obviously, here, as I just said, and it's coming out internationally as the expansion Delta Rain. It will also be including some cards from these EX starter decks. We got this one with Zorg, we got this one with Meowscarada, and this one with Eevee. And these three starter decks are not very good. I will mention the Delibird is okay, and there's I think one card that we'll see from these starter decks that is a new card. Obviously, we're going to see like Lilies and Boss in the decks, but there's one new card that we're going to see in one of the decks we're taking a look at. The cards aren't super good though, but the cards from Storm Emeralda are interesting here. Definitely some pretty fun cards here. A few new decks we'll take a look at. I don't know how good they are. I will quickly say, actually tomorrow, I believe, or no, sorry, not tomorrow. In 2 days, I'm gonna be making a video with Uncommon Fossil, and we're gonna be like ranking all the cards in the set. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. It's definitely interesting to take a look at. We already ranked like the first half of them, so you can check that out if you missed it. But the set definitely has some pretty cool things here, including, which is the most interesting thing, the double stadiums actually looking kind of wacky here on Limitless. Not sure what's going on there. If you're not familiar with how these work, you play both at once, and then yeah, that's you play two at the same time. They are just essentially a regular stadium once they're in play. And we will be taking a look at some decks playing Legendary Lava Cave. I suppose I clicked on it here. By the way, it looks sick. Let me pull it up as bigger images to see. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate, but it looks super sick. Just trust me because it's being split here. But they look super cool. I think I'm actually like I don't really care too much about the arts in general. Obviously, I focus on the gameplay and stuff, but these legitimately all look so cool. In my opinion, I don't think they're super good, but what this card does is. Again, you need to play both halves, so it is kind of clunky there, but Evolution Pokemon in play have no abilities. This is a really strong ability lock stadium, and we see Team Rocket's Watchtower and Standard C play being pretty solid. There is an ability lock stadium. We've seen powerful ability lock stadiums in the past as well, looking at things like Path to the Peak and the basic one, which is called, I'm blanking on the name, Silent Lab. There we go. There we go. And so you have those cards. I would say Legendary Lava Cave, which by the way they all have legendary in their name. They have some synergies there, though they're not very good synergies. But Legendary Lava Cave, ignoring the fact that it's two stadiums, in my opinion, is at a similar power level to Path to Peak and Silent Lab. I think I'm trying to think how they'd rank, and I think the power level is pretty similar there. Specifically with what we have in Standard, where there's a bunch of good abilities on evolutions. You look at obviously Drickloak. You also look at the Dunsparce, which is a nice one. Obviously, Team Rocket's Watchtower also hits that. Look at like the Alakazam and Kadabra, I guess, are pretty solid there. And I'm sure there's some other ones I'm just not thinking of. And there's Metang. There's obviously a bunch of them, and most decks in that metagame are evolution based. You also look at the basics ones, which are sometimes running knocked out, right? So Legendary Lava Cave here is just going to be pretty good at shutting down a bunch of different things. And again, we will see it in some different decks. We'll be taking a look here on PokeCon Book because we see these are not all gym battle winning decks. Gym battles are like small, relatively small local tournaments. If you go to local tournaments, it's something kind of like this. And the decks that we're going to feature are mostly deck winning or tournament winning decks, but they are not all. The first one is though. This is Iron Thorns. There's not too much to say about this deck. It's running Lumio City, which is kind of interesting there, I guess. It's also running the new supporter as well, which is, I guess, kind of important-ish. It's called Aaron or something like that. That cannot be the right pronunciation, but I'll call it that because why not? I guess tell me the pronunciation in the comment section, which is kind of hard to do. But regardless, this supporter says you search the deck for 3 in any combination of supporter cards and stadium cards, reveal them, and you do reveal them. It doesn't say that, but you do that, and then you put them into your hand, then shuffle. Bizarrely, if you didn't have to reveal, this would be broken in a very literal sense. Not too powerful, but like doesn't really work with the rules. Or kind of does, but regardless, you do need to reveal it. And yeah, this is pretty. I mean, it's not great, right? Generally, supporters that search for supporters aren't super good unless you have some reason for them to, do something special there. But what it does do specially is it gets 2 stadiums, which then you can play both stadiums, right? So it is important there. Fully enough with the Hyper Rouge and or the Angel Stadium or whatever alongside Prism Tower, then you're going to be able to theoretically pair that with this new supporter. But obviously here with the double supporter, or sorry, the double stadium, it's good. And also, I will say, being able to get like an extra supporter or two off of this supporter is definitely not bad because you are playing a slow deck. You can see like the 4 Pokegears, the high supporter counts, even like Petrol, leading to a more slow but steady game plan. Getting supporters is decent. And yeah, I mean, the stadium disrupts Pokemon with evolutions that have abilities that they rely there on, like Dracloak, which you look at like this deck against Dragapult EX, it shuts down these abilities on Rulebox Pokemon. What abilities are they using? Not too many, right? So this deck isn't super strong against Dragapult, but with the Stadium now you can really disrupt them. And obviously, speaking of disruption, you have Crushing Hammer there to disrupt their energy as well. We just will take Lightning Energy and a nice new special energy from Pitch Black. It's not new from Delta Rain though. But what is new actually, which is interesting to see in this deck, which I didn't even think about, which is a really cool application in my opinion. I just also realized this deck doesn't even run Crispin. It runs Lightning and Fire Energy, but it doesn't run Crispin. The reason that it runs the I will say Crispin doesn't seem too bad. I'm not gonna lie. I'm someone who's not the biggest Crispin fan in the world, but it seems like it could be solid here. Admittedly, the energy types are a little, or the like basic energy counts are a little low, but Crispin doesn't seem terrible. Regardless, though, you do have the new item card here, which is it's translated here as Adventuring Lantern. I do also want to mention that the names of like attacks or specifically the names of like trainers could be incorrect. The effects should be again more or less right there, unless there's just some like typo from like Limitless, but they should be correct there. But regardless, this says you search your deck for a basic fire and a basic lightning, reveal it and put into your hand. Energy, I should say. You're getting basic energies, not basic Pokemon. That'd be a lot better if it was Pokemon. But yeah, you get 2 basic energies of those 2 specific different types. You can fail one or both, but obviously, I mean, getting 1 basic energy isn't very good. You need to be getting both types here, and it actually works because you are running basic lightning energy for your lightning Pokemon, right? You're running basic lightning energy, and then you have a bunch of colorless energy in your attack cost. So this just is a slightly more efficient energy search. It definitely feels not amazingly powerful in the deck. Like it's kind of mediocre, but it is a fun little inclusion there, and a thing I didn't really think about when the card was revealed. So definitely a cool, well, I don't know if super cool, but like cool use of the new cards. Obviously, Thorns kind of sits there and doesn't really do too much. It just ability locks their opponent with their Rulebox Pokemon, then they're ability locking their evolutions and increasing their attack cost and removing their energies and stuff like that. It's the Thorns stuff, but yeah, it's pretty all right there. And moving on to Mega Rayquaza EX, we have 4 winning lists, and then 2. So there's a few lists that are created by this thing called Trading Card Camp Pro. Not even sure if that's the right translation. It's auto-translated here, actually. If you see any like really wacky wording, that's why. But you got Mega Rayquaza here. Mega Rayquaza is, I'm not gonna lie, I think it's pretty terrible. I'll read it out for you if you're not familiar. It has an ability which says it's called Roar of the Ruler. Obviously, Mega Rayquaza, a pretty, I guess, popular Pokemon and like iconic-ish Mega, but regardless, you have this ability that says you can use this when you play it from your hand to your bench. Then you look at the top 4 and attach up to 1 basic energy you find there to this Pokemon. Then you shuffle the other cards, put them on the bottom, and then you have this Attack Storm Emeralda. If you didn't know, which I've said this a bunch now, so you probably know, but the main attack on the main Pokemon, or the quote main Pokemon in this set, is the name of this set. So Storm Emeralda, or in Japan. So Storm Emeralda is the name of the set in Japan and the name of the attack on Mega Rayquaza, and it says for Fire, Lightning, Colorless, which by the way, this is the intended synergy for the item card, which I guess it's played as a 4 of in this stack. It's a 3 of in this stack, a 1 of in this stack, and a 2 of in this stack. Okay, that's kind of funny. And then this list created here, it's a 2 of, and it's not played in this list. So it's like okay in the deck, though it's not amazing because, well, you accelerate the energy from your deck, and then your attack here, it does 50 for each fire and lightning energy attached to all your Pokemon. But again, you're accelerating from the deck with the Mega Rayquaza. Looking at how people are playing it, we see some different builds. we see most of them are running Ho-Oh EX to get energy on your board. Wow, this one's really different. This one is using, looks like, I was gonna say it's using Crispin. No, it's using, we see, what's going on here? There's like a glass trumpet, but just one. Also, I will say, like, Colorless, they've had the best megas by far. Mega Rayquaza, by the way, is like definitely the worst of the Colorless megas. It's not, in my opinion, super close. But this list, how is it getting the energy on? Am I like missing something? It definitely seems like it's just not really getting the energy on. I'm not gonna lie. Um, yeah, I don't actually know how this deck is really working. I think it's not working. I'm not gonna lie. It just seems kind of bad. But we also see the two copies, as in you can play it once of the new stadium item locking, or sorry, ability locking evolutions. This list is using, you got Ethan's Ho EX some, you got Glass Trumpet, you can start to Terapagos there. Also, obviously, the Terapagos, you can expand your bench. You can do, the Chimpow stuff there. And then you got Energy Switch, and so you can just kind of move the energy around that way. This kind of makes the most sense to me. We see something similar here. It runs Crispin as well, so I guess you can play the Mega Rayquaza, hopefully hit an energy, then Crispin to power up the Mega Rayquaza in one turn. It seems pretty mediocre. Hopefully, you can then take a big one shot there. Also, you have 280 HP, so you're not even like that strong, or like your HP is not that high. And again, in order to take like big one shots, it's a lot of energy there. In order to be better than Mega Kangaskhan, assuming they flip a Tails on the first time, you need to have, I mean, you need 5 to be better there, and you need 3 energy on yourself, and they need to be very specific types. So we see like this is running Darkness for Monkey Dory, which I would not run, by the way. Monkey Dory has a place in some decks. It is potentially a very powerful card at times. Even when it's at its best, it's still a little overrated, I would say, though it is good. But you don't have extra attachments, and also you do damage based on fire and lightning energy. Like, you just don't have extra energy attachments there. So we also see a prism, but like that's clunky. It enables you attack with like the water ogre pawn. It enables some cool stuff, but it's still really clunky there. Then this list is running, some similar ideas, a bunch of Crispins, which I think Crispin, makes sense in high quantities within the deck. Though again, and also you do have the energy switch stuff. I think the energy switch also makes sense. I guess I wouldn't really see a world where you're not running the Crispin stuff, even if you're leaning hard into the energy switch stuff, which this deck is with 2 Ethan's Ho EXs, which essentially just accelerates fire to itself, which is very good in the deck. I actually think it's probably something you want to lean into pretty heavily there. And then you also have, the energy switches and your Glass Trumpet as well there. This list runs Flareon, which is interesting. I'll skip that one for now. But this one here runs, pretty similar stuff with the Ethans and the Trapghosts and the, energy switch and stuff. So, pretty similar idea there. I think that makes the most sense for the deck. I will say, I think this deck is just like not really viable at all. I will say, recently I was not the only person who got this wrong, but I got Mega Extra wrong. I thought it was going to be not super good, but I mean, I'm pretty sure Mega Rayquaza is going to be bad. It is one of the better decks in the new set, because I will say this set is like so much worse than Pitch Black, unfortunately. Like, I've been, if you see my channel, you've seen me just like doing so much Pitch Black stuff. It's changed the meta some. There have been like a ton of new cards or a few new cards that have been decent for like some decks that are existing, and then a bunch of new decks. And if you haven't, you should subscribe so you don't like miss my stuff. But there's been so much cool stuff from the new set, Pitch Black, and that's just not the case for Storm Emeralda / Delta Rain there. Definitely has some stuff, but with Mega Rayquaza being arguably like one of the better new decks, I suppose, it's really just not very impressive there. But of course it is being played because it is new. This list running Flareon seems fun enough, I guess. I mean, Flareon's pretty solid, and the energy types actually overlap a lot, which is nice. But also, like, Flareon is fine. And how much does it really add to the deck, the Mega Rayquaza? I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, it is a 3 prize, I guess, liability as well, because now your opponent has more agency over how they prize map, which is not so good for you, obviously. And then you also, like, you can power it up, and it's like acceptable. I guess you can Glass Trumpet to Mega Rayquaza as well. I almost forgot that for a second. How does that first list power up the Mega Rayquaza, though? Actually, I mean, can Glass Trumpet or Crispin to it? Because Glass Trumpet can go to any colorless Pokemon, right? This is going to be in Oh no, it's not Japanese. I thought it was going to be in Japanese, but then translated. But regardless, yeah, you need a Terra, then you accelerate to 2 colorless benched Pokemon, so you can get it onto the Mega Rayquaza there. But I mean, you only have 2 ways to do that. I guess you have the Meowths for the one Crispin. So this list definitely seems super weird. I'm not gonna lie, but overall the deck seems okay. Okay, there's one other card I purposefully didn't talk about so far as well, which I do think is a very good card, which is Talonflame EX. Talonflame EX, in my opinion, is the best card from the set, at least from the ones that I saw that were revealed before the full set was revealed, and it has the ability of letting you play it just straight onto your bench if you have a colorless Mega in play. Again, as I said earlier, and I said this intentionally, colorless has the best Megas, specifically Mega Kangaskhan EX. Oh, never mind. I was about to say it's not played in any of these decks, and then it's a 3F in the first deck. It's played in. Never mind. It's played in all of them except for Flareon. So it's very good. Like, obviously, it just is a card. It's not a broken card, but it's a pretty solid card with good draw, good damage, good HP. And so Talonflame EX, you can slot into any deck there with Mega Kangaskhan. You can just play it straight into the bench. Again, it isn't a basic. It is a free retreat, which is bizarrely enough almost required for the card to not be a liability, because you have Latias, and then this wouldn't get free retreat with Latias even though you're playing it down directly like a basic. It's not a basic there. But then anyways, you have this attack here for 2 colorless, and of course you are a stage 2 EX, but you then have the HP of a stage 2 EX, a low HP stage 2 EX with 280 here, which is good for a Pokemon that is a 2-prizer that, again, you're playing kind of like a basic, and then for 2 colors do 150, which isn't so good. I mean, it's not good. But then you search for any 2 cards, reveal them. Or sorry, you don't reveal them because they are any cards, so you just search for any 2 cards and put them into your hand, which is a solid attack. It's not an amazing attack, but it's a decent Pokemon. I mean, if you attack on Mega Kangaskhan and don't take the knockout, then you can attack with Talonflame and, like, you know, go for the 2-shot there, and then also get some extra cards, have a Pokemon in the active that admittedly doesn't have the good ability of Mega Kangaskhan, but still does have slightly lower HP, but only being a 2-prizer, and also has resistance, so useful against, like, a fighting deck there. That being said, you still need to play the Mega Kangaskhan against the fighting deck to actually get the Talonflame EX to play, but it is a nice option. Overall, I mean, Talonflame EX kind of covers some stuff with Mega Kangaskhan. We'll see it later. I'm just going to really talk about it now. We also see, like, Bouffalant in this list here. Bouffalant is not going to work with the Talonflame because it's not a basic there, but it is definitely a card, the Talonflame EX, that I think is worth running. We see it as, what's a 2 of here, not played here, not played here, a 2 of here, not played here, and a 2 of here. I think it makes sense to 2 of in most decks playing Mega Kangaskhan. They can attack with Mega Kangaskhan, and even like if you're playing Lilies, like Clefairy, where that's like your main attacker, where you're running, like, if you're running Crispin, I think it's fine. Yeah. So, I mean, Crispin can get it powered up there. Even if you're not, you can kind of get it powered up, sort of. Then we see the next deck. This is the deck that I'm most excited for from this set, and it's really funny. It's Bug Panic. This is the official name of the attack, I'm pretty sure, because we actually saw a card with Bug Panic. If you didn't know, there's a card that exists called it's Sizzlipede from actually Pitch Black. It's a new card, well, relatively new internationally, with the attack Bug Out, which said, oh, sorry, it's not Bug Panic, it's Bug Out. Yes, never mind. It's Bug Out. It's been like auto translated and then like messed up by that. So yeah, it's Bug Out here, which is the attack for 3 colorless, which we see on some different Pokemon. We see it on Sizzlipede, we see it on Kobe, we see it on Spinarak, and then we also see it on Masquerain. It's 1 grass on Masquerain. It's the same exact attack though. Same name again, Bug Out here, which says reveal the bottom 7 cards of your deck, which again is interesting. It's a really interesting dynamic, and I'm super excited to see what this deck's going to blossom into. Well, okay, let's be honest. It's not very good, but because it's expensive, but it's definitely really interesting for 3 colors. Again, on a basic, not so good. Be really bottom 7. You do 50 for each Pokemon you find there with the attack of Bug Out, which again, there are those 4 internationally right now. There's just Sizzlipede, so it's like super terrible. I was honestly really scared they were only going to have Sizzlipede, but they have printed 3 more, so I'm legitimately so excited for this. Bottom deck stuff is super funny. I mentioned this in the previous video, maybe multiple videos. If you played the Alexium Build and Battle Kit, there's this weird bottom deck synergy stuff, and it was kind of interesting, but also like not rewarding at all. It was just this like random like mediocre synergy package, but with Sizzlipede and the other Pokemon there, it's interesting. Obviously, the other Pokemon, they have different weaknesses that they hit. You hit Grass with the Basic and the Sage one, which don't evolve from each other. You have Darkness there, and you have Fire. Fire weakness is hitting Mega Excadrill, which is seen play. I'd have to expect Mega Excadrill to fall off some with the next set. I mean, I think it's I recently did a tier list video, which I think actually I feel really like solid with my rankings. I mean, normally feel like certainly decent. Obviously, I rank them where I think they should be, but I've been playing more of the metagame and seen a lot of different things from a lot of different decks, and Mega Extra Drill is okay. Ultimately, I think a not exciting deck and a not very splashy deck. So I do expect it to fall off some, but Sizzlipede is hitting that for weakness. Spinarak's hitting. I mean, it hits Alexander for weakness, I guess, but that doesn't really matter. It hits. I feel like there's something good that it hits for a weakness. I mean, I guess Lily's Clefairy X. That's kind of, oh, sorry, no, it doesn't hit Lily's Clefairy X. What am I saying? It hits. There's got to be something. Tell me in the comment section, I guess. I don't see anything immediately. Again, other than Alakazam, which doesn't really matter. So Team Rex P2 as well, I suppose. But we had Slowking again. That doesn't really matter too much, though. So is there something that this is really good for weakness? I don't know. The same thing with Grass. Is there something really good that's Grass weak? I mean, there's Ends is Grass weak. Yeah. So hitting weakness there is pretty nice. Then you also have Marnie's, which is like okay, and you have Cynthia's. So you get some stuff for weakness with this deck. It's kind of looking like a weakness box style deck, but it's not very good at that, unfortunately. That being said, it is cool. I'm not sure if you want to attack more. I guess you want to attack with the stage 1. Let's see, we have 2 lists here. I need to talk about this list in just a moment. This is one from the official Pokemon TCG channel. I believe in Japan there's some like different channels. I mean, yeah, okay, it's definitely the one in Japan because the cards aren't out internationally. But we need to talk about this list in just a moment because it's terrible. Like, it's legitimately the worst. I don't know if it's actually the worst deck list I've ever seen, but it's really bad. But we need to look at this one here with, we see all the Pokemon in it, unsurprisingly, that have the attack bug panic. There isn't any way to put stuff on. Okay, this also so unsurprisingly, this deck hasn't won like a tournament, right? But this is one created by a player, and just, I guess, like an idea there. I'm not sure how much work actually went into this deck. Obviously, some work must have gone into it, but regardless, you have all the Pokemon there. You have like a small Dunsparce engine. We see like Gwen. Honestly, this is kind of built like hide and sneak with Spiritomb, in my opinion, which is just like a very different deck there. And so, then you have a couple of Force of Vitality, which is like fine. I think 2 copies feels fine. Then you just attack with the Masquerain. You're not attacking with the basics, so we do have some type coverage. Theoretically, you're not really going for that. We see and then the attack bug out is going to it discards the cards without bug out and keeps the ones with bug out. So it will be milling random cards to your deck, which is kind of bad, but also it does it does like keep your deck, like thin it for the attack, I suppose, which is cool. And then it runs some Sacred Ash. There we go. I don't know why I can't think of card names right now. But it runs that, which is nice for like getting your deck really concentrated with this Pokemon, but you're just relying on, luck there when there are ways to stack the bottom of your deck, which I'm not diving into right now. This isn't me talking about building the deck. I did that more when I looked at the cards for the first time, and obviously will at some point in the future. Tell me if you want a dedicated video on that. I might. It's definitely really interesting, but then it runs like this just kind of generic trainer package, which seems like okay, I guess. I don't know. It feels like this list is super generic, which is very strange for a deck that is not generic at all. Then we have this next list here. This is so I don't know. Maybe I'm just being like really dumb, but this list doesn't make any sense to me at all. So it runs the new supporter, which gets the supporters and stadiums, which like doesn't really, I don't know, it's like a generic card. And it runs the Knockdown engine with Fan Rotom and Ogerpon, which is a thing you see, right? But like Tiamat Ogerpon EX doesn't do anything in the deck. Like so if you played with Tiamat Ogerpon EX like kind of by itself and use it as the attacker, like without Meganium and like Energy Switch or anything like that, it's pretty bad. Like I believe this was done a little in 2 Cannon at first and then like stopped because it's not very good. And again, it's not very good here, so I don't really know why it's here. Like, I guess it enables the knockdown engine and technically gives you another attacking option, but it's not a very good attacking option. I will say we don't see the Centis or the Sizzlipede, which is interesting. I don't think you necessarily need to run all the bug out Pokemon, though I probably would. But then it also runs. It runs Brilliant Blender. Like, why does it run Brilliant Blender? What's that do? I guess it thins your deck, but like, you know what also thins your deck? Like Secret Box, which actually like does something. So I don't know, why does this run Brilliant Blender? That makes no sense. It looks like I was kind of messing around with the other list saying it was kind of like hide and sneak, but like I don't know. This, the other one was built like a generic single price deck. This is built like a not generic single price deck, but like some specific single price deck that isn't this deck, which is so bizarre. And then it's also running Air Zero Underdaps. I guess you got the knockdown package here, and then you also have the Stadium Academy at night. Why does it play Academy at night? Like, that has no synergy. It puts stuff on top of your deck. Academy at night. Like, you need the stuff on the bottom of your deck, right? Like, did they like misread the card? But this is the official channel. Like, what? Why does it put stuff on top of your deck? And it's not like you're thinning your deck because, well, I mean, technically you're increasing the density of like, I don't know, the bottom of the deck or something. It doesn't actually change your odds. Like, it doesn't do anything there. Like, it doesn't do anything. I don't know why it plays Academy at Night. Academy at Night technically is a card. I mean, it can be a stadium bump, I guess, but that doesn't really make sense. And then it can also, like, technically, there's ways to get value out of it in generic situations as a counter to, like, special red card. I was to say or something else, but, like, no, it's pretty much only counters special red card. I guess it technically counters Lucian, which funnily enough could be played with the deck to put stuff on the bottom, but like it doesn't play that. It sort of just doesn't play that. So I don't know. I have no idea what's going on this list. It doesn't make any sense to me. I suppose like I have seen worse deck lists because it still has decent cards in it and it does some of the bug out stuff, I guess. But I don't know. This deck list doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe I'm just being like I'm missing something that happens sometimes, but like no, this seems completely. Okay, there's another attack on the. I will mention the Masquerain. It stops your opponent from using any attacks. It's like a bad version of Bear or sort of Cubchoo. I mean, it's like an evolution version of Cubchoo. It's colorless, but that's not the build around either. I mean, I was gonna say it stops you from decking out if you want to trap them. Like you could trap a Genesect EX in the active or something. Technically, but then. Well, one, they could retreat, right? They can retreat because if they have enough energy to attack, they have enough energy to retreat. And two, then your opponent can also just Academy at Night, so that doesn't do anything. By the way, Academy at Night stops you from decking out, like, kind of. So that is a thing. I was going to say worth mentioning. I don't know if it's worth mentioning, but this is just, like, all over the place. No idea what's going on here. Speaking of weird, we got Mega Malamar. Of course, Mega Malamar, bit goofy here. It does 70 for each opponent's bench Pokemon for 2 Darkness, which is honestly like not too bad. It's not amazing, but we see it just kind of tossed into a Toxtricity box deck. Well, I was say Toxtricity box. It runs a bunch of. Oh, this one was not played in a tournament as well, unsurprisingly. It runs a bunch of Veltal. It runs actually 2 Pekka, which is kind of cool, and it also runs. I mean, it runs Toxtricity. It's a Toxtricity box style deck. We got like Monkey Doors and stuff. Not too much to say here. I think this is maybe how you run Mega Malamar. I don't know. Mega Malamar is not that impressive, to be honest. It's a very mediocre Pokemon, which is fine. And it could be worse. There's some synergies to get Pokemon onto your opponent's bench. Or it does run Accompanying Flute, so it does run that there just as a 2 of, which is honestly a pretty solid option. And, I love Mandibuzz, but Mandibuzz isn't that good. So overall, this card is fine-ish. Mega Malamar is not that impressive, but it could be worse. Then we have Raichu EX, the last of the new decks here. Raichu EX, this is another list created, and this one created as in not like it didn't win a tournament. So it runs the new Raichu EX. This one has Lightning Cloak for 1 Lightning term going first. You can use it to search your deck for an energy and attach it to this Pokemon. Can be a special energy. It runs 1 of the Voltaic Lightning Energy. I feel like it should run like more, but regardless, then you run a bunch of basics with like Electric and Mega Electric as well, and then you have this other attack for 3. You do 200. Then on a coin flip, you can attack next turn. I don't think this card's super good, but as an option, as a 1 of within a Lightning like quote toolboxy deck or like Mega Electric deck or whatever, it's okay. It's not terrible. It reads as pretty bad, but it does have Fruitry as well. Like it's not the worst card. though it's not that good. It's a what 4 of in this deck. Okay, I guess it's a good starter, but it should not be a 4 of in a deck realistically. I mean, I guess it is your best starter. I mean, this deck's like obviously very clearly leaning into it, and it's kind of leaning into it more than it should because it's meant to kind of show it off. But the deck isn't super impressive, but it's a deck. Yeah, but that's something. It's not too much to say about it. It does run 4 common. It's kind of fun because you're trying to go first and actually attack. Then we see this Dragapult list. It's not really anything new, but it is running Toucannon. I have not played Toucannon Dragapult. I can't imagine it's great. I haven't seen Toucannon Dragapult either. I don't think in like a game. I've heard of it a little bit, but it's a deck here. Toucannon just being checked into some random stuff. Still trying to find its best fit there, but being all right as well. Then we see a deck here. We see a handful of basic box decks. This one's running Paldean Tauros, which what's it do? I think it one-shots my extra, is what it does. And then we see the Talonflame extra I mentioned earlier, which slots really nicely into this deck where you're playing Kangaskhan. It really is a substantial part of your draw engine. And on top of that, you're also running ways to get energy onto your board. You see none of these are Crispin decks, but they are all decks running 4 copies of Energy Switch for the different Pokemon you're attacking with. You got different toolbox elements there. We can talk about the different toolbox elements if we want, but we don't really have to. The Talonflame X, I think, slots really nicely into this deck. The deck isn't anything crazy. It's a bit of a known factor, I'd say. But it's, basic box is certainly fine. Then we got hide and sneak here. Nothing too crazy to say here. It doesn't run anything new. Then we have Arboliva. This is like I saw this card and I was like, I've never seen this card before, which I guess I have, but it's Arboliva from the Meowscarada like deck, and this is I believe the only card from the new decks that has seen play in any of these like events and won. And you have this ability, Oil Slip. Once during a turn, you can switch your opponent's active to the bench. Your opponent chooses the new active. It's a mediocre repel effect there. Repel, which is your opponent switches out. I say you might not know. Repel doesn't really see play, but Repel switches out your opponent's active to the bench. It is in standard, so that's why you might know it. Also, why is it's interesting the Mega Evolution's more expensive than the Sun and Moon, but regardless, again, hasn't seen too much play because it's not that good, and it's not that good here, but it is an option. It slots relatively easily into the deck, so that's kind of fun, I guess. I don't know. Then we got Hydrapple, got Marnies. I don't think there's anything new here in any of these lists. I will say Gwen, pretty good supporter, and just in different decks. I played with it some. I mostly just played with it hide and sneak. I played with it a little bit in other decks, but it's a pretty solid card there. Then we see Festival leading in with nothing new. We got 3 Gladions, kind of fun there. We got Slowbro. This is actually running a new card as well. This is running really interestingly, the new Giratina, I don't know if super interesting card, but kind of cool Chaos Crawler here. And by the way, it can attack with it. I don't know if that's, well, it can attack with it with Slowking, but it can attack with it also not with Slowking. Not sure if that's part of the idea, but you could do that technically. And Chaos Crawler for 2 Psychic and a Colorless to do 120, and then during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. This attack can't be used if any of your Pokemon use Chaos Crawler during your last turn. So this is interesting, giving you like full immunity. It's cool with Slowking there because then you can mix and match stuff. I guess you can if you're like missing the knockout with Metagross, you can use Giratina there. You can also, if you somehow have Giratina, but you don't have something else, you could use it. That doesn't seem super likely because if you have access to Giratina, you probably have access to the other stuff. But it is worth mentioning, I guess. Also, Stern Giratina has to be not amazing, but. Then also Kyurem, if Kyurem's a little short, it's getting close on some Pokemon, but or taking knockouts on some Pokemon, getting close-ish on some, you can finish them off with Kyurem, so kind of fun there. Kyurem and Giratina, you can pair those two together. The order, you probably Kyurem first. Obviously, if you cure him first, then you lose the energy and then get knocked out. But I'm thinking that if you Giratina first, your opponent will probably figure out what you're doing and probably be able to play around it. Also, they can double gust around it. That would be a pain if they somehow gust twice. Probably not happening. They can gust around it though just regularly, and that's kind of what they're trying to do anyways. So overall, is this a good addition to the deck? And now, does it deserve as much talking as it's getting? Probably not either, but it is a fun little card and a new card, so I figured I wanted to talk about it here. Then we see Mega Lucario with some weird stuff. We got Piapa Berry, which, as far as I'm aware, stops weakness or stops damage after weakness. So that seems not great, I guess. I mean, I haven't really seen this card see play. Wait, is that the right name? I think it is. I don't even know how I remembered it either, but it stops damage or reduces damage by 60 from Psychic Pokemon. Apparently seen play in a Crustal list once for Slowking, I guess is what it's there for, because it doesn't work against Alakazam, because that's damage counters. But regardless, we got some Lucario with a Mega Zygar there. Got another Mega Lucario list here. This one's running. Oh yeah, I also didn't mention it. So it's running 4 copies of the new Stadium that item locks evolutions there. It looks super goofy in Pokemon Book here. I wonder how it will look. Actually, no, it'll just look like a regular card with like 2 copies of each probably in regular deck lists, but it looks super goofy here. It looks really small and not impressive at all in these lists here, which is kind of funny in my opinion. But yeah, let me see my capsule right in the new Stadium. We got in these lists, they are not running the new Talonflame. You see, Raging Bolt though is running the Talonflame. At least this list is. This one's not even running Mechanics Gun. Nor this one, but regardless, you got that addition there. So overall, nothing too crazy. Also, we got we used something kind of crazy. We got an Alakazam list with Bastiodon. That's kind of wacky. We got an Alakazam, not so wacky, with Toucannon, I guess. And then we got Palace. What? I don't know why Crustal's been translated like that. You got Mega Excadrill, which is doing Mega Excadrill stuff there. Overall, though, I think the new set is kind of fun. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's kind of bad, but it has some cool new cards, and I always like new cards. And I think Bug Out is super cool. Literally no idea what's going on in this list. This list is like horrendously terrible in my opinion, unless I'm missing something. But it just seems so bizarre. Like, why is it running the Ogerpon Noctowl package? Why is it running Brilliant Blender? And why is it running Academy at Night? Like, those just don't really make any sense to me. I've never really seen someone just put in this like a random Ogerpon Noctowl package into a deck, even where it would like kind of work. So yeah, very strange there. But tell me your thoughts on these decks in the comment section. I hope you all enjoyed. Huge shout out to my YouTube members as well for supporting the channel. It really means a ton. But I hope you all enjoyed. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.